Yeah. I'm happy to see you. So Sarah will be speaking to us from over here, I guess, right?
Yes.
There. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending our last meeting of the month or of the year, I should say. And first, I would like to introduce to you Sarah Dallas, who's over there on the computer. Okay, Director of Sales. I think everybody that's here knows that. And thank you. Without your support and advice and everything else that you do, our library would be lost. So thank you very much for all of that. Is there anything that you would like to say to us?
Oh, Megan has known me for 20 years. Has she ever known me not to have something to say? Do I have 10 minutes of your time?
I think,
yeah. We'll need you to talk loud because the volume on this desktop is not great.
Is this better?
That's a little better. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And if you hear me fade, do this.
Okay.
That would be wonderful. I think everybody is aware of the Southern Adirondack Library System. And I was joking with my staff today that we've been in the newspaper and the radio more in the last 6 months than we've been in the media for 20 years. It's been an interesting time. I think I can skip an overview of SALS because you said how much we help you do what you need to do. So I think I could cut it down to maybe even less time because I know it's holiday season and you want to get home. I wanted to share a little bit that the JA fee billing is a 3% increase. And I'm sure you already have budgeted for it. But for Bolton, your 2024 fees are going down to $299.26. So you're saving some money this coming year. The JA Finance Committee met and they're suggesting an increase of 3.5% for 2025. So it hasn't been approved yet, but I wanted to put that on your radar. Any questions about that? Megan and Sarah will tell you that one of the advantages of being part of the JA is that for this amount of money, you've got 6 full-time IT professionals at your staff's beck and call. And I'm sure you're all fans of Jim and David and Chris. Chris has been known to do all sorts of things to get your equipment working. There's only maybe 2 weeks left in the year, but just a gentle reminder that trustees are required to do 2 hours of continuing education. And if you haven't done it, we have lots of virtual opportunities that are actually quite interesting, listed on the SALS website. And I'd be happy to direct you to some training opportunities. It's going to be recorded on your 2023 annual reports. And I think you just need to let Megan or whomever know the date and the number of contact hours of CE that you had. You don't have to show a certificate to complete. So you can do something at your leisure and online. I'm going to talk a little. Did you have a question?
Yes.
Yes. I was just going to ask Megan if she could go to your SALS website and send that link to our members. We're pretty good. I think we're more than 50% covered, but there are some people looking for some things to finish.
I highly recommend the trustee handbook book club. That's very, very helpful. And I even do it to keep abreast. And it's done by outstanding people that it's actually a quick hour.
Sarah?
I want to talk,
Can I
I'm
just
sorry,
ask you
go
a
on.
quick Can I ask you a
Uh-huh.
quick question?
Mhm.
One of the trustees is leaving at the end of this year, and hasn't been able to do the training. Does he have to do 2 hours of training even though there's 2 more weeks?
I
The day.
I think that what you may want to do is when you fill out the annual report, say that the trustee is stepping off the board.
Okay,
And I think that'll work, but this is the first year they're doing it. So I'm not really quite sure what the state has
okay.
devised.
I'll find
I
a
love
solution.
I love your library. I think it's one of my most favorite interiors. You've done such a good job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Unite Against Book Bans is something that's near and dear to my heart. It is a part of the American Library Association. It costs nothing. But what it basically is a site and a affiliate that gives facts and figures about book banning, and it gives you some knowledge so that if people ask you about it, you can say that the majority of people from all political sides of the aisle are against banned books. It just gives you some really good statistics for talking points. I would like to urge each and every trustee to sign on as an individual so that you get emails with the information that you would need or possibly could need. And I find it very interesting. And it's written not for library folk per se, but the public, explaining how important it is to have access to information in our libraries, because that's a core value, access and democracy and the freedom to read. It's part of the First Amendment of the Constitution. I would also like to urge the library, and you need to think about it, is to sign on as a partner, not as an individual, but the library as a partner, because strength in numbers is important, especially because all of this book banning and distress that we see locally, statewide and nationally really touches the core of who we are and what we do. And I'll just put some, not temptation, but maybe some friendly competition. The town of Long Lake, pardon me, the Lake Pleasant, the town of Lake Pleasant Public Library has signed on. So it'd be nice to see other libraries in the Southern Adirondack region being partners. I'm going to say that it's very, 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 very important that you review some of your current policies, given the cultural wars that are going on not far from your door. The first one is, please review your collection development policy. And Erica or I or Jill Ryder would be happy to, if you have questions, go over it with you and make some suggestions to make it stronger. The other thing is, do you use that back room as a meeting room? Okay, look at your meeting room policies. and who's allowed to use the room, what stipulations, if you allow community to use the room, that it's not a library-sponsored event, to make sure in all the publicity that people know that it's not a library event, but it's a service the library provides to the community, having this fabulous, wonderful, free space for the community to use. You following me? So you
Yep.
need to make sure that the policy is fair and just, and that you follow the policy for booking the rooms for all community groups in your service area. You can't pick and choose. That's when libraries get into trouble. And we don't want your hard-earned money going into legal costs. The other thing is that challenges. One of the best resources your library has is your outstanding library staff. So if somebody comes in and challenges a book or a video or something in your collection, the best first defense is your library staff listening and talking to the individual to find out why this material is so bothersome. And then you can explain why you have it in your collection, because you have a collection development policy, you've got professionals selecting the materials. And the other thing that that's near and dear to my heart is that if this book or this material isn't suitable to you as the individual or your family, please don't take it out. No feelings are hurt. But to have it removed from your shelf is limiting access to other people in the community who may need that material or who may want to read it or view it. You following me? You have to be fair. The second thing that did I freeze? No, I see
Yep.
people moving. The second thing about the challenges is that you should have a reconsideration form and look at how you handle challenges. The first thing I would say is that you take every challenge seriously. The second thing is that people want to challenge the materials, give them the form to start the process. It's everybody's right to ask, why is something on the shelf? The third thing that I highly recommend is that you look at your policy and allow only people who live in your community and are paying taxes to support you be allowed to challenge materials, because it's a local thing. There are groups that reach out from across the United States trying to challenge and causing all sorts of time and money to go through it. So that's one thing I recommend that you do. You limit it to. And the other thing is to make sure that people who are challenging have viewed the whole DVD, the whole movie, have read the whole book. Reading a passage from a book can be problematic because it's not taking it in the context of the entire work. And all challenges must be treated the same way, with respect, with care. And the other thing that I suggest is that if somebody is challenging a specific title, have it in your collection, your challenge policy that that title can only be challenged once every 5 years. Or you could have multiple challenges going on every week, every month for that same book. And that's tying up your resources, your library's resources, and your staff's resources. Does this make sense?
Yep.
I'm sorry that I even have to bring this to your attention, and I apologize, but I want you to be prepared. A few months ago, Megan, Erica sent out talking points
Mhm.
It was a pretty, handout with teals and blues and greens. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
I suggest that you print it and give it to all of the board members
Okay,
and have it at your service points in case people come in. Practice, read it. I don't know about you all, but I'm one of those, if I'm challenged, I do a flight. I don't stand my ground. I want to get out of that room as quickly as possible and out of that situation. But it helps me to practice some of the talking points and have a spokesperson so that all of you don't have to be experts, but know who to refer the challenges to. And I'm going to suggest Megan as the director. Do you have any questions?
so far.
Okay, giving you a lot of stuff to think about, and I'm doing it remotely, so I don't know how it's translating. We are going to have a construction grant through Sal's. Information will be sent out in January, and it's for a project up to $5,000. So stay tuned for that. And my last thing is that last year, and even though Carrie Warner, whose office is a half a block from Sal's, libraries did not receive an increase in funding in 2023, 2024, because that's their year. So we are going to start advocating for libraries and library services. And if you can send some really poignant stories our way so that we can say how important that library, your library, is in your community, that would be tremendously helpful. Last year, it was flat funding, and with the cost of everything going up, it was actually a deficit. And we need to have an increase in state aid for this next funding budget. So please, please, please know that delivery costs almost $300,000. And Sal's services we try to make it as cost effective as possible. But if we don't see some increases in funding, we'd have to rethink some of our services. Delivery won't be one of them, but I just use that as an example that it is such an expensive service. And most of the money that Sal's receives from the state is passed through to you and to the other libraries. So we really need that increase in funding. So that's my little spiel. I promised to be brief. I hope I was. And I'm open to any questions you may have for me.
Thank you. We have been working on our policies over the past 6 months. Several of those that you mentioned, we have updated, but it wouldn't hurt to look through some of them again, just to make sure that we covered all those points that you brought up. So thank you.
That's wonderful because it is very important to have them in place, because if you are challenged, you don't change your policies during a challenge. So you want to be prepared. And I seriously hope you never have to face this.
Me too.
Fingers crossed. Okay, any other questions for Sarah before we move on? Okay, then I guess we shall move on to our minutes from November. They were sent out about a week or so ago. Oh, go ahead.
Sarah, did you want to stay for the meeting or did you want to get out?
If you don't mind, I'll let you do unless you need me to be part of the meeting.
I don't think so. I think that, you know what, if any questions come up, I will make sure the board has your email address and so that they can send them to you. And I'm thinking that maybe, I know at one time you did look at our policies, but maybe the ones that you mentioned, I could send to you and have you look them over or send them to Erica.
That would be fabulous. It would be our pleasure. We want your life to be uneventful.
Thank you so much.
And happy holidays and wishing everybody a wonderful, wonderful and healthy new year. And thank you for being trustees, because I know it is a huge impact on your time and your life, and we appreciate you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Sarah.
Thank you. Okay, so the minutes went out about a week or so ago. Did anybody have any questions, corrections, or?
I have one correction again, that Norwalk. When I saw, even though it had been mentioned to correct it, the corrected spelling was still wrong unless you did a final one. It's Norwal.
Okay. I don't know if it's still incorrect, though.
I just, one question, though, is not really, it's just that we, I guess it was, it was discussed for a backup person for sale in case we needed it. Is there anything on that?
We've done it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I didn't know. I just wanted to ask.
Yes. Okay, so based on that one correction, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented with the correction.
I second. All those in favor? Okay, then we'll move on to the treasurer.
Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the financials that were sent out. I know I outlined the additions to income and the expenses. I think everything was, in that email. One thing I did want to follow up on, the 990 has been filed, and that would be a thank you to Becky here. I think. So. 2022, 99. And the one thing I did mention is that we did get the $2,500 from Norwal for the grant, which came in actually early. It came in November, and one of the items last month that we agreed to spend money on was a new color copier, which is
There it is.
So there it is, and it will be paid for. It is already, the check's on the way to them, so it's been paid for. So that money, it will stay in 2023. That's really, unless anybody's got any questions regarding the treasurer's report, I'll save everything else that I've got for the financial piece of it.
No questions? Okay. Let me make a motion to.
It's accepted.
Okay, we're accepting that into the minutes, and we are moving on to the director's report.
Nothing big, but the event section seems to be quite large. I think the library is just becoming a really, even though there are times you walk in and it's just me, there's a lot going on here. Please check out the display. On this side, it's a collection of snowmen from Mary Ciccarelli. I forgot that part of mine. And on the other side are my Santa Clauses, and the theme to this side is warm up to a good book, or warm up with a good book. There's something new in the front corner, Linda. Is your granddaughter going to be here this weekend?
Not this weekend, no.
Well, we have it for 2 weeks. It's the sensory tiles that you have to walk on them, and they're probably even better barefoot. But they came from South, so really cool, and they're on loan for. I did have to get rid of the ball pit because it was making me nuts that it was so big. And I'm going to look to see what other things they might have in their lending library. That's all I have.
And then those of you know about the new playgroup, there's times here that it's open for, which from nursery school children to come.
It is in my report.
Yeah.
We had last week, Sarah was here, there were 5 kids. It was great. Couple of times, been like 2 or 3, which I think is fine because if you get more than that of toddlers and they start to cry, I'm not looking forward to that. But
It's a great program.
it's been really nice.
Then,
Oh, wait, I did have one more, I'm sorry. I did, Sarah and I spoke to the president of the senior citizens, and we're gonna work together on having like a little coffee hour, like once a month, or, something. It's gonna start in the new year.
okay, great. And the social media report, Sarah had sent that out, and I don't know if anybody had any questions on it. What, one significant thing is after the post of the paper streets, that reached 392 people. That's a lot of people. So it's great that our information and what we're doing is really getting out to the community. So we will move on to the committee reports. We did not have any executive meetings, but we will go on to the financial committee.
We have to approve the director.
Oh, we do have the directors, I'm so sorry. Could I have a motion to approve the director's report?
I second it.
All those in favor? And so moved, please put in minutes. And financial then?
Okay, we'll start with the appeal letter. Unfortunately, the appeal letter, I just got them over this past weekend, so they were dropped off at the Fulton Center on Monday. My guess is it takes them a day or two to get sent out, so maybe they were mailed yesterday or they're going to be mailed today. And they're kind of in this never land between Christmas and New Year's when they're going to arrive at people's houses. I'm hoping that this doesn't impact the response to it, but it has delayed the money coming in. So the one thing I may have to do is just move some operating income from the money market to the checking account to just cover cash flow for the next month or so. We'll see what happens. But we've gotten over, I think now close to $5,000 that we've just gotten from people that are just sending their donations in without the letter. So we have gotten some money from that. So and I did note it in the email that I sent out, and I think next year we need to kind of look at this process and start it earlier. And do you want to continue with the PACER group? Do you want to pay somebody to do this? Do you bring it back to the board to stuff and fold, that kind of thing?
Or do we have a friends group?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's something to think about, but I think starting it earlier would be very helpful because it is a very good process. The affinity program, again, I know at the bank they said that they thought they had a couple more people sign up, but their records don't get updated on a regular basis. So at this point, I don't know where we are with it. We have until the end of January to get our numbers up, but Christine said she would get numbers before that time to see where we are. And there's not much we can do about it at this point, other than I saw that there were 6 new people getting library cards and Sarah, I think that she the other thing listed under here is the cyber insurance. And I know one of the pieces we were waiting for was our local backup process, which I think we're going to talk about later on. So once this is all in place, then we can go forward and fill out the form to just get an estimate on what it might cost us. And then we have to engage this for 2024. There has not been any money allocated specifically for this piece of insurance. So it would be something that we have to talk about.
Right.
Okay. Finally, the proposed 2024 budget. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review it. I know I've had some folks that had questions and we talked about it. So I don't know if anybody else has any more questions. One good news is the town did approve in their budget, they approved our $80,000 allocation. So it's 75 for operating, 5 for capital improvement. So that is approved in their 2024 budget. So that kind of gives us a sigh of relief to know that we've got that guaranteed income. So at this point, if there are any questions, I know I reached out to the finance team. So at this point, the finance team makes a motion to accept the proposed 2024 as presented.
So all those in favor say aye. Okay, so moved, the 2024 budget has been voted on and passed.
There was one other, and this is like finance personnel. We are starting a bi-weekly payroll as of January 1st, 2024. Right now, all the staff gets paid on a monthly basis, but it goes from the 16th of one month to the 15th of another. And it's really kind of a difficult thing to sort of manage. And at that point, Megan was being paid as a salary person, but she is technically not a salary person. So as of January 1st, we will go to bi-weekly every 2 weeks, and all employees will be hourly. And it will probably take us a couple pay cycles to just sort of make sure we get this working and it works for everyone. But basically, it's like whatever salary, that is divided up to 12, and they just be now divided into a salary.
26.
Yeah, there'll be 26 pay periods in the year. So, and that is something that at some point the personnel committee would need to update the employee handbook, but I don't know if we need to like do it immediately. I would like to see how this goes for a couple of weeks to see if we need to change it, and I don't know if we need to change it or not. Right at this particular point, but I would like everybody to know that that's what we're doing. Everybody agrees that we're comfortable with this pay situation.
Okay. All right, we'll take that into consideration with the personnel committee. All right, then if no one has any questions on that, we're going to move to the policies and procedures. Sarah and Megan had sent out a new policy for backing up the computer. Did anybody have any questions about that? It seems pretty thorough.
I had it, but I didn't read it out.
Okay, I had one comment to make, and we talked about it, and in the middle of it, on the last line, it says downloads and documents on the work desktop will be saved to the portable hard drive, backup every Saturday by 4 p.m. And I suggested adding or more frequently, depending on the workload, because on Monday, if you update all your policies and procedures and something happens, that's a lot of work that went down the tubes that you might have to recreate. So if you do a major change to policies and procedures, the employee handbook, whatever else, the grant piece, I would back it up right then and there.
Yeah, we did talk about that, so it's good. We definitely should have that added to this policy.
So I did change it on the form we have saved.
Okay,
So you can actually approve it
with that.
with that change.
Is everybody okay with that? Would somebody like to make a motion that we accept that policy with the change? So Dino will make the motion and Jane will second it. Thank you. And then we'll just have to make sure it gets put in the policy book. Are we currently totally up to date with
Pretty
all
sure.
the policies, forms and everything we need?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so then this will be the only one to add, and I guess we would add this under
Administrative.
administrative.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to just let us know when that gets done, that would be great. All right, nothing new with long-range planning. We are going to, get with the township when theirs is written and try to see how we can dovetail into theirs, but nothing done in the last month. Fundraising.
Could I just say quickly,
Yes.
a few weeks ago, I attended it was a director's council meeting. It was just maybe it's the borough directors, I'm not positive what the names it was. And it was librarians from Racket Lake, Inlet, just a number of places. And the Lake George, Laura Burrows, who's the Lake George director, was there, and they have done their strategic plan. And she said that they had a really good involvement with the community because they did theirs during COVID. So they had Zoom meetings with the community and a lot of people attended. So they were able to really beef up, the questions that they asked. And with that, they were also able to, people had suggestions for the town as well. So she got in touch with Bob Blaze was the mayor at the time, so she talked to him and he was really excited to hear some of the suggestions that the community had made. And they have now, when she does her director's report, she ties in the strategic plan so that the trustees see how the library is doing following the strategic plan as well. She was going to send me, like one of her reports so that I could see how she's been doing it.
Oh, that's good.
But also their strategic plan is now online. And I think it'd be great to look at it to see, I mean, we're very similar libraries, similar size.
I know when we were initially working on the tax rate, there was a lot of libraries that had their strategic plan.
But I think that if we, if we do it on Zoom, maybe we would get a better turnout than asking people to come here.
It would be worth a try. Definitely put that on a list of things to do for the new year, especially in the winter time when people have less to do, maybe, in February or March. Okay, great. So fundraising, do you guys have anything? Go first.
Sure, I can, go ahead, just go for it. So, you and I were thinking, we did a little bit of research, fundraising by selling, mugs or bags or t-shirts is not a really great way to earn a lot of money. So we sort of reframed the way we were thinking about perhaps using our logo and kind of conceptualizing more as an opportunity to spread the word and share the message. So we looked at some different materials and different products that we could possibly put our logo on and either sell here if that's allowed or sell at the farmer's market. Maybe not with the goal of making a ton of money, but maybe breaking even or earning a slight profit, but getting the message out. So what I looked at, I got in touch with a company that does printing with actually quite a few different products. The tote bags, the grocery bags, beach bags, things like that. They also did some really neat things, coolers and beach towels, and some really different, unique products. But when I spoke with them, unfortunately, because we have such a complicated logo with so many different colors, we can only print on raw materials, so cotton or canvas. The printing process, the way they described the digital printing process, it requires so many different installations of color because of our logo that it literally melts everything else that we try to print on from this company. So it eliminated a couple of things that we were kind of excited about. Unfortunately, that we were thinking if there were, like a large lunch, like a, what do they call them, 12 can coolers that fit, for a boat, but they're all made out of the materials they melt. So the tote company, there are many, many, many tote options. Some of them are kind of cool, like the land end canvas that has the straps with the zipper in the front. I did bring my computer to show you an example. But for example, that type of concept, we could get the logo printed on it. And based on the estimate that the gentleman sent me, it would be probably $8 in our costs to have something like that produced. There are a little bit more fancy ones. There's a messenger canvas tote bag that goes over your shoulder and on your, with a big,
Black.
the envelope black, right? That one's more like $13 or $14. Large grocery shopping tote is about $9. And a square shopping tote with sort of the digitally base to sit on, which I think is kind of a cool concept with all the shopping people have to do. That's around $8. So if we wanted to invest in something like this, what he did say is if we were interested in different products, maybe some of the more unique products, we would have to modify our logo and provide a logo with 1 to 2 colors. They'd be willing to work with us on anything. They were very nice. They were very flexible, no minimum. So we could order
3 totes and try to sell them and see if they sold, and then order another 3 in 2 or 3 weeks. Or we could do none of it. So we just wanted to present, and I know that Dina made a couple of phone calls too for a couple of different options. So why don't you talk about what you found, and then we can just talk about whether it's something you'd like us to pursue.
I did, I contacted a company, I went with some local companies here, so if we had to go back and check things.
Can I just make sure, you guys, you need to, the trustees should be aware that they did try to contact Kate. And
Oh,
Kate-
yes,
Kate
yeah.
did- She
Yeah, I
didn't
think
get
we
back to
mentioned
them.
She said she couldn't bear.
She
She
did
couldn't
say,
do it, she was gonna give us some references, and we just made a number of attempts to reach out for back, so we sort of, that way, that's a long process. So that's, so we were kind of clear out with the other.
I contacted a company for stickers or magnetic decals, in Glens Falls. I do have to send them the logo that we want to use to see if they can do it. Usually it's only 4 colors, that they do. So again, it's the same process. We need to see if we need to modify it somehow.
Is there a lot?
Not a minimum, but we said,
It's the color separation, is the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do multiple green, multiple gray.
right, right. Anyway, I'm going to meet with them after the holidays. And it was pretty much the same. I went, contacted a company, for some nice polo shirts. Somebody mentioned about like, maybe the trustees have like a nice polo shirt, whatever. There is no minimum. Again, it depends on the logo. It depends on, I have to go there and see because polo shirts range from $14 to $48. So it really depends on the quality of whatever you want.
We were thinking if I can jump in with a polo shirt, if you want to pursue it, we thought maybe even
Just the board, right, yeah, they might
purchase
want
them
it.
for the events that we go to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So when you go down, again, they're one's in Glens, no, they're both in Glens Falls. There are other companies, there's about 6 companies. So if we're not happy with one, we can try another to see what they have to offer. But they seem to be the ones with the best reviews in the Galveston business, so I kind of look at them. And the only thing is that the polo shirt, so that we didn't have a vector file, which we don't, right?
Yeah, this is
That's
the
the issue.
conversation with Kate. Yeah.
Right, then that could be an issue. I don't know if that means the same thing for printing on the bags.
I certainly what we have if we have it, but, you know, again, I only went so far.
Right, he said they could do a vector file, but there is a charge to do that.
Did they say how much it was?
Yeah, they said, well, again, we have to probably bring our colors then, because they were talking for.
If you were to get somebody to do this for you, I'd be curious how much it costs, because it would be more.
They said a 4-color one averages between $15 and $55.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable, I thought it was reasonable.
Well, only because the logo design costs $3,000. We have $31.55 in the request that we got from Judge Stewart. So technically, there's $155 floating around the universe to deal with the logo.
Right.
So if you could get somebody to do the color separation, it might help you.
Well, like I said, I left it off with them, that I would go see them after the holiday. We can talk to that company first, if you wanna get us something in for this year.
Right, if the board would like us to pursue maybe modifying the logo, if the board would like us to pursue perhaps creating a couple of products and see what kind of sale we can get. But we have to have an upfront commitment financially in order, you know, even a couple $100 would get us started with the process.
So
Jake,
if we
do you have
did-
something to say?
Well, it's just, I have a friend who's a really good practice, and this one was. Okay.
Meaning she would change it into a vector file, or even that she would, maybe like. But I really appreciate that research that you did is perfect. That's exactly, you know, what we needed to kind of go forward with this. And I love the idea of us having a polo shirt for events. And I love the idea that you came up with that. Not really thinking about selling things for profit. You make it, that's great. But when we spend all this money on a logo, we really do want to get it out to the community and have it at the forefront of, of what people are seeing. And I think the bags would be something that people could purchase, especially that has sort of I like the boat tie into it because we're here on Lake George. Because if they can use it for farmer's market and use it for their boat, it's got
And
double
there's some
use.
there's some insulated ones, and that's so we could
I don't
definitely.
remember seeing anybody else have it insulated. So having it
Well,
insulated.
the Chestertown Farmers Market has a quasi insulated.
Yeah, I know there are only some might, but I don't think any of the other people.
No, I
are.
haven't seen it from.
So that would make ours a little, different, so we're not really competing, and so that.
And what's really neat about this company is that it said you could order three.
Yeah, that's.
Not having a minimum is great.
Yeah.
And actually with the decals, they mentioned. And then it goes up in increments. Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, let's see what we can do with getting that graphic turned into the file we need. And then start next year, so that we can get them by farmer's market time. But, that's great. Really
They
good.
mentioned they just said they would tweak the logo or something.
No, what they said that with the number of.
Okay.
If you wanted to use any of the other products.
So if we did a retro logo on anything, then we could use our old.
My daughter literally said to me, I could probably just some AI for you. If you wanted to use a couple of colors. And again, she's not a graphic designer, but we could also just have somebody experiment to try to replicate. Right now, she said she'd be willing to come, so.
Oh, good.
But from an identification standpoint, on print and in social media, what we've got seems to work, right? Like,
Right.
so-
Yeah,
Right.
so yeah,
Okay,
we're
no,
gonna
I-
change it. We've
No,
already
no,
got.
right,
We would.
So if we, right, so if we have professionals in there, simplify that, so it's printable, that would get.
I guess the other thing, if you use it, is, just, this has become, sort of, distinctive, it's just the way that it says both free library.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something that you could do without
Right.
having the book, right?
Right, so that would be another option, is just to do the letters rather than trying to.
And again, that's something that as a board, if that would be much simpler if you see that in much more easy fashion.
Was it understanding correctly that if you just go with, say, a canvas logo on the bottom,
Right.
stick with this logo?
So he said yes, but again, he has to assess it and analyze it, and this is just based on what our conversation. Between 8 and 13, depending on how elaborate it's going. And if it wasn't this graphic, it would be more like $3 or $4. The complexity of the printing.
I mean, if we pay I think, like Michelle's point, we paid $3,000 to get our new logo. I would like to stay with our.
I would too. So I think that's the first.
And there's some, I mean, I can,
But, it's simple, it's still look the same but less colors, Yes,
We have,
yes.
we can do it.
Right, yeah,
On
yeah,
campus.
right, right.
And so that has the farmer.
I mean, it's also color, we talked about what does it look like in black and white, in just grayscale. What does that look like depending on what it's on? But again, we would need some help with, we need some more graphic intervention, or to get that to work. Right, she's the one who figured out what their font was, yeah.
So I'm just gonna walk this around. But this one was, he said about $8 or $9. And that's our cost, and we can up it whatever we we want.
Yes.
Yeah, we can order more, right, yeah.
Just so long as you recoup your money.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I paid 15.
So, and that's one example, there's other options. Consider what people pay for produce. I know,
We need to move the library up close to the front so that people get back before they start.
Yes, will we do this instead of like lugging all the baskets to the market, you know, all the raffles, is that our thinking?
You will not replace that, that's between $2,000 and $3,000 that we make at the farmer's market. Versus, you just wanna cover your costs.
So you want to cover our costs if we make $3 to $5 per item, Yahoo, but we cover our costs, get the name out there.
That's sort of a brand.
I did get a price, and again, when I go to 10, with the shirts, just want to mention that. Is it use as many colors as you want, if you do a water read screen. But I didn't even ask the price because he said it was expensive.
Yeah.
So I just want to mention that
Yeah.
that was offered, but I didn't
You pay
pursue
per
that.
stitch and it's really
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. So I didn't pursue that.
But, you know, what would look really nice on polo is just the verbiage that we have. That would look great on.
Yeah, well, we'll go down there and see what he can do with whatever, so.
That's great. Really good work, guys. I appreciate all that. So we're gonna move on to building.
Well, we had a big disappointment, as you probably all noticed, thanks to the rain on Monday, the generator did not get installed. And he called me and now the date is set for January 8th. Because it's the first Monday that it's not a holiday. And that they're working, but that's not working. So we're rescheduled for that. And everything else, you know, self-explanatory, so we just, and now that Sarah mentioned another grant coming, we will have to get together to decide what we want to apply for that Sal's grant for.
When they say there's a $5,000 grant, does that mean that each library could get, or it's 5,000 and all libraries can get?
Each library can get it, they probably have up to a certain amount of money, but the maximum amount of that per library is $5,000. So.
It should be good. Can I just ask, were you part of the conversation about the water district asking about why we didn't plant the flowers?
Yes, we sent them an explanation of what happened.
Oh, okay, so
So,
they
and
seem to be
that's-
good with that, so we
Oh,
will
yeah,
get
and-
reimbursed for that, you think?
Sarah and I, we filed it and then they came back and asked some questions. So we wrote more of a narrative of what happened
Okay.
and how we had all the water and had to solve that. And
Mitigate that.
we're still waiting for the town and we're just waiting to hear back from it.
Because we've outlaid the cash for
Right.
all the work and then they reimburse you out back.
And one of the questions they asked us was if we were going to be reapplying in January for more money, and we answered that with yes, we are. So, but we can't start that grant until beginning of January.
We don't have any, thank you, Carla, very much. Book sale, I know that they're still getting lots of books and that Sue has even been selling books online. You know, some of the, what you call them, classics, no, or whatever.
She's selling anything.
Yeah, what's that?
She's not, but, she's putting some books together and selling them like that.
Yeah,
She isn't just selling, classics.
I thought they were, you know, fruits that are.
She's selling encyclopedias. Everybody thought nobody wanted encyclopedias. She's selling them. So.
Where is she selling it?
On eBay.
On eBay? Yeah.
We think they use them for movie sets. and stuff.
Right, right.
Question from Michelle.
Is somebody else,
Yeah.
There isn't anything.
What about tax implications?
That's why I said.
There isn't anyone there.
What's that?
There is no one on.
Right.
Oh, okay.
We would see them.
We, if Sarah was here, we are only allowed to have Yeah. So it's like what Sue is doing, Sue is kind of doing this on her own, make a donation to the library, when we do the book sale.
Yes, that's right.
But there are other libraries that are selling books all the time.
They're taking a chance.
Well, there's
No,
two
they
things,
have
friends, but are the
Right.
friends paying sales tax, which is a question I've gotten, a lot of people look at me like, what do you mean?
Grant
So I know
library.
they're not, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
And I know library of Vermont that I go to, they have books in them.
So we do have books out for sale, but we don't say that. We say that they are for a donation.
Just like all of our raffles are donations.
Mhm. It's actually not a raffle card. It's actually,
That's right, not a raffle. Okay.
it's a drawing.
Right.
But this is still important.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll go on to the grant committee.
Right,
There was
so,
a-
yeah, Sarah made this really, I mean, I did a really, she sent out an attachment for her plans, for different grants that are coming up. It's really good. And, yeah, and I think these are good, we have a couple of deadlines coming up, but we have a plan now, we have stuff going on, so now we just apply again. So you can get a little bit more money to keep some books going to the school and to other community groups, and then, then you have this great card that she's putting in the books that kids can do different activities, and they would come into the library with their card, you know, a little, charge a little prize, but that was really good, it got them getting a book from the library, but then coming into the library. And I think in the final report that I wrote, I think there were like 4 to 6 cards that came in, that's like half the school fee. But I think it's great, yeah, it's really good, so.
We even found a note in the book drop from a little girl whose hand, I mean, she was definitely, I think she was maybe 5, but she wrote, I finished my card. Can I get my prize? And then, and there was, I saved it forever, and when they walked in, like, they're the one. She just wanted to make sure she could still get a prize for finishing the big card.
Jay, quick, Adirondack Foundation.
Yeah. we will.
All right, thank you, Jane. Good job. Personnel. So, it's all, because we had a meeting the other day, we were looking for some personnel to be backup in case Sarah can't work for Megan. And so we interviewed 2 candidates, and they were both qualified and good candidates. Both of them, though, work somewhere else, so have rather small windows that they're able to help us. So we are offering both of them the position in hopes that between the 2 of them, we would be able to cover any schools that we may have in the schedule. So we had left it to Megan to get in contact with them. Have they both?
I haven't had it, I was a lot getting ready for the meeting and stuff going on. But,
Okay.
I will talk to them tomorrow.
But one of them works, Tammy works at the Warrensburg Library, part-time, and the other person works at the Diamond Point Library, who's only open on 20 hours. So they both have plenty of library experience, it would just be a matter of onboarding them with our policies and procedures and having them come in and sort of get a tour of our library and so that was, that's basically all with the personnel committee, right? So Sunshine Committee, is there anybody else that we know needs to get, thank you, cards, besides the ones that,
Should we send something again?
Oh, yes, because we never sent something to Lynn. Because it all happened after.
Elizabeth, I know we asked you about sending a note about David call. But did we ask you to do something for his wife, for Lynn as well?
I don't recall.
They are 2 local people who have used the library. They're lovely people. And because they both got injured and have realized that they can't live on their own, they are moving into it's an assisted living. So I just would like
They're going into two different parts of
They go
the
to that.
facility.
So they're going into this facility, and I think if the library could send them a note just saying how much they're gonna be missed and come back and visit us.
You didn't know?
Oh, Michelle, I'm so sorry, I thought I
David
told you that.
fell in his house right after Thanksgiving and broke his hip. And went to the hospital and had a hip replacement and everything. Lynn and her daughter were going to visit him, walking out to the car. About 5 days later, it was right after we had the snow, she tripped over a chunk of snow, landed on her back in the parking lot. She put a hand down, broke her wrist and broke her shoulder. So her daughters have been there with her.
They have, Kathy, the oldest daughter, has been helping her mother sort through all of Lynn's books, so we have gotten a number of them. And Lynn is going tomorrow.
She's the one that makes all the hats that we
Yes,
have,
for the-
So they're
and all
going to
the
Trustees
knitted things
tomorrow?
that we sold at the,
She's-
at the,
She's gonna,
so just, you know,
Kathy has stated,
she should be able to, hopefully be able to knit. And I hope.
just that,
In about 6
okay, call.
months, maybe.
So Lynn,
Oh, just as an interim.
No, she's gonna be
There.
permanent.
Lynn realized that because of their injuries, they just really can't live on their own.
And she can't take care of David. As a matter of fact, in the facility, he's in a different part of it than she's going to be. They each have their own separate rooms.
When is this happening? Is it
So
happening?
Lynn leaves tomorrow.
And he's not gonna be going for 5 to 7 more days. He's in rehab right now from hip surgery.
So he's in a rehab facility.
Yes.
So right now David is at the Pines. I am pretty sure that if you mail it to their Bolton address, though, it'll get forwarded to them. It is, because I think you have sent something in the past. The oldest daughter, Kathy Brandt, I think that's her last name, she has been in quite a lot this week. And I explained to her today that when they got emails, they got the newsletter and any of the updates that we would send out, it went to David because Lynn has flatly refused to use a computer. And I said, she said to take her father off the list, and I said, well, would you be interested in getting it? That way you can kind of keep your mother up to date on things that are happening. And she said that was a wonderful idea. So she is going to get any of our emails that we send out and the newsletter. And she said she would read it to her mother. She also is going to keep me up to date on how they're doing so that I can let everybody else know about it.
And they chose there because 2 of the daughters live in that particular area, so they can drop in.
It's right in Albany,
right?
Yes.
In light of all the donations that Lynn has donated to the library and everything, can we approve to like send a plant, not flowers, but like maybe a plant to her?
I don't know that she's a plant.
No,
Yeah, well, let's talk to Kathy, because we would like to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And we would have to get settled.
Yeah.
I definitely.
We need to think of something, an orchid or a succulent dish or something, if she likes flowers.
I'll talk to her. She's going back tomorrow because she actually has been taken all of this time off from work, and they pretty much have said, you better get back here. So she's going back tomorrow to work, and then her husband's staying, so they're gonna just be coming back and forth, but they are keeping the townhouse. And Lynn has a doctor's appointment in January on like the 12th or the 1st, I can't remember what day. So in Saratoga, so Kathy said she would try to bring her up for them. And if that happens, Kathy is just, her mother has talked forever since they moved right into town about how wonderful the town is. And Kathy has now experienced that, and that has also made her happy and made her a little weepy. That her mother just had made such great friends with.
I actually went and visited with them today, and she's in very good spirits, and she's, she's like resigned herself to it, and like this is where we are in our life, and we're lucky that we didn't have to do this sooner, and she's, accepted it, and, is enjoying it, which is, yes.
Well, I tell you everything, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Let's use that.
It's usually 86 again.
I did see
And they're also
beautiful
the same.
leaves with the golden gardens.
So the one in the door is from the garden club. It's the Lake George Garden Club, and they do need a thank you. And we've done that in the past, so that's on there. And then the other reads.
Wait, hang on, slow down.
Okay,
Coming in into
the Lake George Community Garden Club. And we should just send it to Laura. Okay, then who's the president?
I don't know, just send it to the garden club. I'll try to look it up. but
We just
they
need
can
it.
have election.
She needs an address.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll look it up.
Okay.
It was online, because I talked to them about coming and getting garden books, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll look on my.
So any other questions? And if not, could I have someone make a motion to accept the committee report?
I make a motion to accept the she made it. I'll second.
You can second.
I'm not used to her being here, man.
All right, so then we're on unfinished business. We'll start with Canopy. Maybe do you want to tell them a little bit
Yes.
about where we're at?
So Linda brought it to my attention that if we were able to get our form into Canopy it's actually Overdrive, by the 22nd,
Yep.
that we would get a free month. So I emailed Kristen Price, I think it's the way you say her last name, and she wrote back and said, yes, that's true. If we can have it on her desk tomorrow, by tomorrow, we'll get it free. So I filled out as much of the form as I could and then talked to her, and we're done. And it will start, the actual start date is going to be January 1st, but it will actually be starting on the 2nd because no one's working. The website is going to be https slashes, and then it's boltonlibrary.canopy.com. I just took what was budgeted from the proposed budget, which was $1,500 for videos, and so I said $750. Because I think that is what we decided at the last meeting, and
For the year.
It's $750
$50 for the year, and the way, so the way we are, there were 3 different ways to pay, which one was pay as you go, monthly pay as you go, or pay from deposit, and I chose the flexible pay as you go.
And then you and Sarah could maybe get together and do
This-
something.
nothing's gonna happen. They are someone next week is supposed to get in touch with me and give us all of the information that we will need to get things going with, social media and all that.
The only thing I wondered is, since it will take us a little while to get the social media information out, if we started on January 15th, would we get like more of a free month? You know what I mean? Because if they're gonna give us January as a free month, we're not able to do social media till well into the week of January, we're gonna lose a week, so.
I'll call her
I think
tomorrow and
she
see.
said something about if we didn't do it for the 15th, we might be able to get a 15th to the 15th. You know what I mean? But you know what I
Let
mean.
me talk to her tomorrow.
Talk to her about, we wanna get the most bang for our buck. Basically, that's the one we're looking at. So the next thing listed is new copier, and we've mentioned that we got that. The Pomeroy Foundation, do we know whether Sarah? I think that is
I
what-
believe in for grants.
Yes, it was in there. It didn't, it has everything mentioned, but it doesn't say that we put the paper in, just an intent. So maybe they'll be getting back to us, because I think they then approve or make suggestions as to what our assignments say. So, but we can check with maybe a date for next month. Training requirements, Sarah went over that. The only thing that I didn't see that was listed is we did participate in the tree lighting, and just to let you know about that, we gave out about 35 books. It was a terrible weather day. It was such a shame because they had such nice things. The whole township had to move everything inside the museum, so people driving by really couldn't see what was going on, rather than last year we were right out front, people stopped by. And even, they had the hay rides and those kinds of things because it was pouring raining. I mean, people still went, but they were drenched. I'm sure it affected the amount of people that came, but we did give 35 books out, and we did, sell, some raffle tickets. So, and, it was still a worthwhile event.
I don't know if this comes under, old business or new business, but, we talk about the elections for next month, but we need to have the sign-up sheet tonight for the different time slots for us,
Megan, would you ever be able to make up a timesheet for us to sign up for, and then when you guys all, it's on a Wednesday, it's during the day, it starts at 10 o'clock, and it goes until 6 o'clock, at which time we will have our annual meeting. So we do have to mention that if everybody, make sure you have on your calendar, it's a Wednesday evening, and it is 6 o'clock, right? Yes. The 10th. 11th was last
You
year.
want me to do that and send it out to you, or do you want me to do it right now?
Let's do it right now and see if we can. Get people to sign up,
We did it.
And do you need one person per hour?
Yeah, you just really need
except
one.
for the last hour, we
So then 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6.
So Michelle and I will do 4 to 6 and we'll salad,
Okay,
because we've done it
okay.
before. And even, if you're not running for the board again, you are still officially a member of that board until that last, the January normal board meeting. So
Okay,
if you can come to the annual meeting, because we do vote at the annual meeting.
so those of you three that are out, out at the end of this period, we will still come to
And
that.
I think Eric already said he would come to the minutes.
Okay. Any other items that any communications?
You
have a letter from Michelle
Yeah.
Hoff about
Just a minute. I'll sign up for a time. Do you have that letter from Michelle Huff that we could read?
Yes, actually, I made a photocopy.
And any other communications that we have besides that?
That's the actual card from Michelle Huffman. This is the photocopy of what's inside.
Okay, so we had a communication day for the kindergarten that came in for years, so we got a thank you card from them. And then Michelle Huff said, "Dear Linda and board members, I wanted to thank you for participating in the Bolton tree lighting. Having you there and donating books to the children has been a wonderful addition to this holiday tradition. I hope that we will continue to have a library member participate for many years to come. Have a wonderful holiday and thank you again for your donation and patronage. Patronage? I'm not sure. Participation. Yeah, she put participate and then on the next line. Okay, that's I couldn't think. So, okay,
So the other was a thank you note for the kindergarten.
yes, yes. from the community.
They get library cards that day?
They don't.
I know it's the whole thing. but
Parents.
that's parents, right? Yeah.
They
The
get
parents have to be here.
the parent, well, they kind of do, or at least a caretaker. And it's a very quick visit because, usually what the kindergarten teacher tells me is that they'll arrive at 10:15 and they will have to be out of here by 10:35. So, it's a very quick visit, but I cram as much as I can. It's cram and the kids absolutely love it.
Any other items under upcoming events?
The
We're
basket.
gonna have a, yeah, that's.
I haven't come up with a day to draw, I haven't figured out when we're gonna actually draw for the basket. Because there was a winter theme, I wanted to sell the tickets for as long as possible. Michelle and I had actually talked about trying again to do that community meeting where, sometime in February, where we just invite the community to take part, doing reading different things. And if we do that, that was kind of my plan, is to have the drawing then. That was the reason we asked Anne Marie to get winter and not Christmas. So let me put a little thought into the community thing, and then I'll let you guys know what the date is that we have decided on.
Any other items? Okay, then we want to go ahead and, end the meeting over there? And, but I do have something, I have some
And before you,
refreshments here.
before we stop the meeting,
Yes.
we need to have a motion to adjourn.
Oh.
and-
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it. Thank you. When I read the thing there,